Hey there, Start here. So as I said, I'm gonna start working on like some content outside of Clash of Wills, some like trials and stuff like that. Really, like the only sort of relevant trials today would be like the Depths of Chaos boss rush, maybe like Sephiroth EXT, maybe the Grace trials. I mean, I can, since we have so much to do this week, I can sort of go through all of that stuff eventually and kind of just do a tour of destruction with Celeste. Maybe go back and do some of the old trials, like the Grace trials, maybe even like the 12 types and stuff like that. But I figured I'd start with the boss rush because it's got a pretty nice Lapis reward. For those of you that weren't here, it used to be in the event. For like the first 2 weeks when it first came out, it was in the event tab. They've moved it to the Nemesis tab. It is permanent content, so there's no reason to do it right away. But if you have the units in the gear, might as well do it. The only one that's really relevant for Celeste is the last one, the Depths of Chaos Rush, because it's the only one that has an FFBE team requirement. It's also the best one because it gives you 3,000 Lapis, so it's definitely the one you want to do. You don't have to do it with FFBE only category units, but you see that mission in the middle there. It does give you 3 mystery crystals, which is nice. You can use those for Emperor Cactuars, which you can use to overlevel your units. So it is definitely nice to have. If you haven't done this yet and you're kind of just like you're hoping to maybe get a unit that could help you get this one done quick and easy, Celeste is definitely helpful, and you don't even need more than an EX or Celeste, because Celeste really, like, sort of her biggest bang for her buck is in her support kit outside of Clash of Wills. I mean, she can deal damage obviously because she's a Neo Plus unit, but her support kit is really great outside of Clash of Wills, and that's what we're going to be utilizing here. So I am going to look for just a friend Hio, because Hio is still like the best unit for just clearing out trial content. I mean, hands down, the strongest unit outside of Clash of Wills for trial content. I also bring in Frosty along. He'll be our breaker. We are going to go with a lightning element team, even though Celeste would prefer light. She's not here to deal damage. She's just here for support, and her field also amps lightning. And so we're going to go with a lightning element team. Also, because the only FFBE unit that can do a light imperil field outside of Clash of Wills is Tsukiko, and hers is a one-use only Magnus. And the problem is Medusa does a preemptive field which would overwrite a light imperil field. So that's why we're bringing Sakura, so that she can summon Rama for the 50% imperil field and sort of reapply that imperil field when we get to the Medusa wave. Ilmatel is there for the Omni Killers. If you have, what's her name? Ihana works as well. They're both FFBE units, and both do the Omni Killer when they're at EX2. So you have to have, whichever one you have, they have to be EX2 for the Omni Killer every turn. Okay, but she's just there for killer support, really. Celeste is there for the lightning support, and then you've got Hio and Frosty there to Frosty doing the breaks, Hio dealing the damage, and we're pretty much gonna get this one done. I'll take a quick look at the gear. It's pretty irrelevant for Ilmatel, but if you have them, obviously if you have Ilmatel, you'll have her STMR. Equip that to her so that she can also do some human killer and dragon killer, because there are humans and dragons in the boss rush. And if you have Ihana's STMR, definitely slap that on her for demon, for the demon and fairy killers. That's very, very useful. All right, and that's really all she needs. Celeste, honestly, I just gave her 3 stars to reduce her MP costs so that she doesn't run out of MP, and that's it. You can see she's EX+0. All I did was level her up to 120. I have not NV Plus awakened her, of course. I wouldn't waste pearls on that. This is just one of my spare dupes that I happen to have pulled. So I'm using her as an EX0 just to show you don't need the Neo Plus. You just need a support kit. Okay? Hio is, of course, dealing all the damage, so he's got all the best gear, just as much damage as you can stuff in there. I have his card, so of course that's the one that I use. And he is 300% all killers. So this is the typical Heo you might find on a friends list. A lot of people build their Heos like this on their friends list for this trial specifically. So yeah, that's how I've built mine. Sakura, all I did was I hit optimize and punched the MP, and this is what popped up. The only thing I switched out after I did that was I gave her a couple of Bahamut synergies to make sure we have enough Esperfill to summon Rama, and we'll need to do that twice during the fight. Frosty, gave him 2 katanas because he's going to need to do his LB first for the breaks, and so he won't be able to benefit from a Fist Imperil on this one. So just 2 katanas. And then, you know, whatever the rest of the damage gear that you have. I think he's pretty good on the killers. Yeah, well, no. All right, he doesn't have that much aquatic, but that's not a big deal. He does have demon and human, which is important, and his dragon is whatever. But yeah, the demon and the human, probably the more important ones. But yeah, just to go show, he doesn't have to be stacked on killers. All right, and my friend, let's take a look at the friend. They are also, yep, stacked pretty well to the max. Should have pretty much all the killers that we need. 250 aquatic is fine, but 300 demon human is important. Dragon, fairy, yep, all good. So let's get in there, and this is going to be a first turn kill of every stage, so it's going to take 6 turns total. Let's get it done. All right, Elmatel can go ahead and dish out some killers, so she can do human or fairy, doesn't really matter. We'll do human on each of the Heos. It's only 50% more than her Omni Killer. Her Omni Killer is 100% killers to all races. It's only 50%, but that could, you know, that could be the difference between you killing and not killing. Sakura will summon Rama, and that field will last all the way until Medusa gets rid of it with her preemptive field. Celeste is just going to end Thundaga to imbue everyone, coordinated teamwork for the buffs, and dazzling neon for the amp field. Alright, and then Frosty just does LB, LB, LB. Alright, and we are, yeah, we're good, ready to rock and roll. So basically you just tap Frosty first and then send your Heos. Okay, easy peasy. All right. So for this boss, we can basically just reload and repeat, except Sakura is going to do something slightly different. Okay, so let's wait for her to stop casting. All right. So since we don't need to re-up the Imperil field, Sakura can do Elemental Power Lightning. Since it's a cooldown, it will refresh at the beginning of each wave, which is fantastic, so we can use it at the beginning of every wave. She'll do Thunderstone and then Burst for the slightly bigger Lightning Imperil. Elmatel and Celeste can just go again. Alright, and just like before, tap Frosty first, then send your Heos. Okay, and we're doing a ton of overkill here, so if your units aren't quite as strong, honestly, don't worry about it. Like, yeah, I mean, like these first 2 bosses, I think only have like 4 billion HP, so we're doing like massive overkill here. All right. Now this one lines up pretty well with Ilmatel's killers. So Ilmatel does have plant killers in her kit, so let's go ahead and utilize those. She'll do Plant Rune on the 2 Heos. All right, Plant Rune on the other one. Okay, now you see Frosty's SLB is up. I am not going to use his SLB. I'm actually saving that for Medusa, because Medusa is a slightly bulkier boss, has a bit more HP, and we want Frosty contributing damage to that fight. So instead, he's going to do Icy Grasp, which is an 89% defense and spirit break. He has 2 uses of that, so he's going to use 1 on this turn, 1 on the next one. Or on this boss. He's going to use 1 on this boss, 1 on the next boss. And yeah, we can basically just reload and repeat now. So Sakura does the same thing, Celeste does the same thing. All right, we make sure all the buffs and imperils and everything are up, and we send Hio. And yeah, you see the bosses are like dead well before we're done dealing damage. So we're doing a lot of overkill damage. So again, if your units are not quite as strong, you can probably still pull this off. Yeah, 8.3. I think the boss, I think that one only had like 5 billion. So doing tons of overkill. All right, so this is the one boss where Ilmatel doesn't actually have any killers that line up, but you notice her MP is running a bit low. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to triple Spiritual Cure to refresh her MP. Okay. And then, yeah, we're just going to reload and repeat. Okay, same thing with Frosty. All he's going to do is Icy Grasp again for the 89% breaks, and then we're going to send Hio. All right, looking good, looking good. So that one's probably the closest one to not killing, I guess. That one, because I think that one also had 5 billion HP, but yeah. I'm not sure. I don't think Ihana has Aquan killers in her kit either, but it's not a big deal. All right, so Medusa, like I said, does a preemptive field that is going to erase both sides. So this is why Sakura is great, because she can just reapply that easy peasy. Okay. We'll go ahead and have Ilmatel do Demon Killer to Hio, Demon Killer Hio. Okay, so now we're going to use Frosty's SLB. LB. All right, we're going to summon Rameau again for the Imperial Field. Okay, Celeste can just reload and repeat. Frosty will do his SLB. Okay. And just like the first two waves, tap Frosty first to make sure the brakes are in place, and then send your Hio. Okay, so yeah, Medusa is probably the hardest one of all these bosses. Yeah, the dragon, he's really not difficult at all. All right, so Ilmatel does have dragon killers. So let's do Dragon Rune on Hio, Dragon Rune on Hio. Okay. Sakura doesn't need to summon Rameau again, so we'll just do Elemental Power Lightning on my Hio through Thunderstone and Burst. And then we can just reload, repeat everyone else. Alright, and this should do it. 6 turns, all missions clear. And there we go. All missions. 7.1, I think he's only got 6 billion HP, so a billion worth of overkill there. All right. So, you know, this isn't necessarily a showcase of Celeste's power, right? It's just more of a showcase of her support. You know, very similar to Ong. Like, I'm pretty sure there were some FTK strategies using Ong because his support kit's very similar, just for water. So, you know, if you wanted to go water, then Ong would be the better choice there. In this case, you know, lightning works very well here. So there you go. Yeah, my Hio clearly doing the majority of the damage because he was getting the 100% lightning amp on all those turns. So yeah, so that's why he's kind of leading the pack there. But the other units definitely needed to get it done. And yeah, all right, easy peasy. Yeah, I might try another clear of Depths of Chaos using my EX2 Celeste and kind of like just featuring her more as the damage dealer and not bringing units like Hio and Frosty and kind of showcasing her more. In those instances, it's not going to be first turn kills, obviously, because she needs a setup turn. But yeah, you know, they'll probably be 2-turn kills, right? So yeah, we'll mess around with that, and I'll probably do that later on today. I'll probably also do a Sephiroth clear. I've already seen a couple of Sephiroth EXT clears with Celeste. I think Sinzar did like a 2-turn clear, and I think Gert did a 3-turn clear with Celeste. So I'll have to figure out how to do, you know, something a little bit different. I just don't want to. I don't want to repeat what other content creators have already done out there, because what's the point? So I'll look for some way to make mine a little bit different. Maybe just doing like a 5-unit clear with just my Celeste and making it a little bit more budget friendly, I guess. And then yeah, maybe next week I'll start looking at some of the like Grace trials and 12 types and stuff, and just, you know, going back and punching them in the face really hard, right, with a new OP unit. But yeah, let me know in the comments below if there's anything specifically you would like to see me do with Celeste, and I'll be sure to try and get it done next week. So thank you guys so much for following me, and I will see you on the other side.